Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone.
Good morning, Prof.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so this will be our first week, our first class of presentations for our assignment 2. Okay, so let's just give everyone a few minutes to get on, and then I will first just show our sign-up sheet. Okay, so we have this week first up will be Selena and Aslan. Okay, followed by Amir and Shazwan, Nabila and Mimi, and Aini Shuhada and Zarfan. And then Effie and Amirul Ashraf. So we'll just play it by ear. We'll just see how many we can get through. Okay. And so remember, I will be keeping time, and I will be quite strict with the time. So try and get through as much as you can in the 8 minutes or so. But I'll pretty much stop you at 10 minutes, okay, at most. All right. So do your best. Don't worry if you can't completely finish, but try your best. Okay. This is more of a training exercise for everyone in terms of learning how to do presentations in a short period of time. Okay, it's a good training. It's a good skill to have. So if you don't completely finish everything you want to present in those 10 minutes, don't worry about it. It's okay, but just try your best. All right. I'm not necessarily going to grade you on whether you complete the presentation or not. Okay, so but just do your best. Okay, inshallah. So are we ready to start? Everyone ready? Selena and Aslan, are you ready to go?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so you can start at any time. You can share your screen and then begin.
Hello, testing. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay. Okay. Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Salina Konda, and I'm partnering with Nur Azlin Najwa binti Samsudin. So today I'm going to present our youth program proposal in addressing the issue of suicide that caused by social media among youth. Okay. Next. So for that, we decided to choose the influence of social media on suicide rate among youth as our topic or issue. The reasons why we choose this topic is because we believe that social media is commonly used by everyone regardless of the age and all around the world. And we are sure that everyone is aware of the advantages and disadvantages of social media. So to make it more specific, we relate it with another common issue faced by youth, which is suicide as one of the disadvantages of social media. Moving on. All right, so to support our justifications of the issue, we have provided few evidence, including conducting an interview with a person that had the thought of attempting suicide because of the social media. Next, we also provided few related news. Okay, next, and also related journals as our literature review, which will be further explained in our report. Okay, moving on. So here is our proposed program in addressing the issue among youth. We plan to conduct an awareness program that we name as Social Media Love Yourself. Next. Okay, so our program focuses on three main objectives. The first one is to give awareness on the influence of social media that could lead to suicidal thought among youth. Secondly, to increase knowledge on mental health issues to avoid suicidal thought among youth. And the last one is to train youth to refrain themselves from social media. Okay, next. As for the rationale of the program, in addressing the youth needs, we believe there will be two aspects, which are to improve their self-awareness and increase their knowledge related with the issues so that they could do some improvements on themselves. Moving on. As for the activities, to ensure the participants will get actively involved, we plan to do it more interactive yet informative. So we're gonna start our program with ice-breaking session so that the participants will get to interact with each other, followed by, okay, next. We will have an information talk by a professional speaker. After that, we're gonna start the group work where we will have the hands off from gadget as the starter. So here, everyone will be freed from their phone and of course their social media. Next, we will have sharing session. Here they will exchange stories, exchange life perspective, and so on among themselves. Followed by, we have skit competition. Okay, next. And also we have quiz competition among the teams, among the groups. And we're gonna end our program with a calm and relaxed activity, which is meditation, because we believe that after all day, the whole day listening to talk and doing activities with people, we need to um, take time to cool down ourselves and yeah, to relax before we end the program. Okay, moving on. So as for the expected outcomes from the program, we hope that the participants could gain more awareness and knowledge from our program and started to make some improvements on themselves. Thus, our objectives are achieved. So in conclusion, we believe that more awareness programs are needed to intervene the issue of suicidal thoughts and social media among youth. So that's all for today. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, well done, well done. You did it in, wow, you did it in 5 minutes. So, Selena, did you guys practice before you started in terms of the timing? Did you have a practice session?
Oh, of course,
Yeah. Okay.
because we don't
But
want to drag the time for others also.
yeah, I could tell. It was quite brief. So, good job staying in the time. And I mean, you covered all the main aspects. I think there's a little bit, you had a little bit more time to go into a little bit more detail. For example, if I were to ask you, from your review of the literature, what did you find as the main causes of suicide in relation to social media?
Okay.
Oh, and
So
also
for the
from your interviews, also from your interview.
okay, so for our interview, okay, that person is had the thought because of the social media, because in that person's social media, too much cyberbully. Yeah, so it
Okay, all right,
caused it caused depression. So
all right.
depression lead to the suicidal thought. Okay, so another one from our journal that we found, the topic of our journal is does the effect of media influence suicide rate.
Uh-huh.
So the finding or result of the journal is one moment. Uh, the authors observe that the media index is the third motivator of suicide after unemployment and violence, especially in youth.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So social media plays a big role. So you chose to focus on the objectives of self-awareness and knowledge. So knowledge meaning building awareness, right?
Yes.
And then self-awareness. What types of self-awareness do young people, what types of self-awareness can help them to avoid, suicidal tendencies? What kind of,
This is okay. This because sometimes people don't know they have the symptom of depression, such as they tend to hentakkan kepala dekat
okay.
dinding macam tu. So people say this is a normal things, but it could be one of symptom of depression. So with this program, it could give the knowledge for the youth, so they can know, so they can avoid the suicide thoughts.
Okay, so more about knowledge of themselves, yeah.
Yes.
So I think, is that what you mean by self-awareness? So they better
Yes.
they can better understand themselves and understand why they're feeling depressed, why they're feeling these, why they're getting these sort of ideas about suicide and stuff. Okay, all right, I get it. Okay, nicely done. Thank you, Aslan and Selena.
Thank
Yes,
you,
Doctor.
Prof.
It's always hard to be the first ones to go, so you did a good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see, who do we have next? We have Amir and Shazwan. Amir and Shazwan, you guys ready?
Yes, boss.
Okay, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Shuffle. Can we start, Prof?
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum and good morning to Prof Latif and my fellow classmate. Today, me and my partner will present about prevention pornography addict among youth. Firstly, let me introduce ourselves. My name is Sharul Shazwan bin Isa and my metric number is 202666. And my partner is Muhammad Amir Shafiq bin Lias, 204039. Next. For the introduction, porn addiction is in theory when you can stop looking at porn even if you want to, and the obsession gets to the point that it interferes with work, relationship, and other parts of daily life. It's easy to understand how this could be a problem with the widespread available on internet porn today. Next. The second one is effect of the pornography. The first effect is on the mind. Pornography significantly distort attitude and perception about the nature of sexual intercourse. Men who habitually look at the pornography have a higher tolerance for abnormal sexual behavior, sexual aggression, promiscuity, and even rape. In addition, men begin to view women and even children as sex objects. The second effect is on the body. Pornography is very addictive. The addictive aspect of pornography is a biological substrate, with dopamine hormone release acting as one of the mechanisms for forming the transmission pathway to pleasure center of the brain. Also, the increased sexual permissiveness and the engaged by pornography increase the risk of contracting a sexual transmitted disease or being an unwitting parent in and out of wedlock pregnancy. The last effect is effect on the heart. Pornography affect people's emotional life. Married men who are involved in pornography feel less satisfied with their marital sexual relation and less emotionally attached to their wives. Women married to men with a pornography addiction report feeling of betrayal, mistrust, and anger. Pornographic use may lead to infidelity and even divorce. Adolescents who view pornography feel shame, diminished self-confidence, and sexual uncertainty. Next. The next one is our evidence of the issue. The first we interview with 2 persons from this community. And another one of them become addict from early stage, and the second one we interview is start addict with in the middle stage. Next, I will pass to my partner Muhammad Amir.
Hello, Assalamualaikum Prof. Next, I go to objective program. First, assist in identifying yachts addicted to pornography. Second, avoid the encouragement of addiction that is constantly experienced that can lead to criminal problems. Third, provide awareness to youth who are addicted to pornography. Rational programs. First, lack of knowledge about the long-term effect of addiction. Second, no early prevention among parents in monitoring the activities of children in the use of internet. And last, peer influence is one of the factors contributing to the percentage of pornography among young. Program activities, implement awareness program with the concept of seminars among the youth with the theme say goodbye pornography. Example of activities, talk or explanation of the dangers of youth trapped inside pornography. Teach them regarding the netiquette, which is etiquette of using internet. Counseling session, mentor-mentee session. The participant friendly to explain the problem that leads to porn addiction. Better outcomes can reduce the percentage of pornography video viewing among youth, ensuring mental intelligence is always oriented. Last, prevent immoral activities from becoming more widespread in the future, especially among members of the community. Conclusion. Pornography addiction among adolescents today is closely related to the progress and development of life patterns enjoyed by humans today. The exposure and development of existing education also causes why teenagers today are seen as more forward than parents is in the use of technology, so that some of them are deliberately irresponsible access pornography on the internet and be able to bypass existing cyber restriction to obtain pornography material. The result of the study that has been conducted all found that there is no benefit that can be obtained as a result of viewing pornography. This is because pornography not only affect a person's physical or behavior, but the biggest implication for pornography can be seen in terms of adolescency personality development, especially in terms of adolescent spiritual development. Okay, they all from our group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Shazwan and
Okay.
Amir. So yeah, very important topic, very important program. You did a nice job. You finished in 7 minutes, so congratulations on that. So just a few things. So first of all, I like the way you laid out the problem. Very nice job because I think a lot of people are not aware of all the problems related actually to this issue. In fact, I was trained in social work, so I used to do online counseling with young people, and we had a lot of problems with young people coming and talking about their addiction to pornography. And when you read about all the studies that have been done, it actually is there's a lot of problems related to it. And I think you mentioned many of them there. I like the way you did that: mind, body, heart, and all that. And especially the last one on relationships, how it creates a lot of problems in relationships, even divorces, marital problems and all that. So nice job doing that. And so then your program, you're going to focus mostly on awareness. Yeah, you're going to make help young people. And then also, I think I like the fact that you had a session there related to where young people can actually talk about their own experiences and problems with it. That's very important, I think, that they have a trusted mentor or counselor, like you mentioned. And then your outcomes, they seem, can you go to your outcomes quickly? They seem mostly measurable. Okay, so the first one definitely reduce the percentage of pornography video. That's definitely a measurable outcome. We can definitely measure to see whether, you know, young people over time reduce their viewing. But in the time of this particular program, you won't be able to measure anything. It's too short a program, right? So, you know, maybe for your outcomes, you just want to, you know, you want based on your activities that you're doing, you know, you want to get across a certain amount of information to them. Okay, so sharing of knowledge, and then opportunity for them to share their own experiences. Again, this may be related more towards building their self-awareness, and then hopefully giving them some strategies or ideas on how to turn away from it, you know, to stop viewing it and stuff like that. The second and third outcomes you have there are a little bit too big for the, you know, you're just doing a small program. So, you know, you can't expect that after that small program, you know, you're going to completely prevent the activity from ever happening again or anything like that. So just try to make your outcomes more realistic based on the program that you're doing. Okay?
Okay, Prof.
Okay. Good job, guys. Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay. All right. So next we have Nabila, Ashikin, and Shamini.
We will start now,
Okay, please.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. My name is Nabila Ashikin, and today me and my partner Hanis Chamimi will be presenting about our youth program proposal with the title After thorough discussion, we have decided to choose materialism, how materialism affects the youth as our topic. But first, let's get to know what exactly is materialism. Next. Materialism can be defined as a belief that possession or acquisition of tangible products or services can lead to life satisfaction while putting little to no interest into spiritual, cultural, or intellectual values. To put it in simpler words, when someone is putting material wealth as number one priority in his or her life over any other thing. Next. After doing some research, we managed to examine the external factors that contribute to materialistic behavior. The first one is parental style. It was found that youth who do not often interact with their parent figures about their expenditure are notably more materialistic. The next one is the influence of peer groups, where youth who experience peer pressure are more likely to be materialistic. And lastly, imitation of media celebrities, where youth have a higher tendency to imitate their idols in various aspects, whether in their fashion style, personality traits, and etc., which we will elaborate further in our report. Next. So each of us interviewed one person and from both interviews that we have conducted, we detected some similarities in both interviewees where both of them follow or subscribe to a number of artists or influencers on social media platforms. Sorry. And next, both of them are also willing and have spent hundreds of ringgit when it comes to their favorite artist merchandise. For example, interviewee A will buy physical albums whenever her favorite band is making a comeback, while interviewee B will try to acquire products that are released by her favorite singer. And when we ask why do they did that, both of them have the same answer, which is to satisfy themselves or for their own satisfaction. Another similarity is both of them feel that it is normal to cut down daily expenses in order to buy things that they desire, because both interviewees also did the same thing too. And lastly, they both agree with the statement the best achievement in life is acquiring material possession, but only to a certain degree. Next. Our proposed program involved bringing the participants or you who has materialistic characteristic into Kampung Guntur, Kuala Pilah, which is a village for Orang Asli, the Aborigines. So there are a few objectives that we want to achieve. The first objective is to expose about the hardships that underprivileged people undergo to materialistic youth. The second one is to instill the feeling of being grateful with what they already have. And the last objective is to connect, to appreciate the nature more by connecting the youth with it. Because we have an activity where the participants have to do some communal work and clean small waterfall or cascade, do they call it jeram? Small waterfall, which we will be explained further by the next presenter later, Shamimi. In short, our proposed program revolves around mental adjustment and social adaptability. Next. Moving on to the rationale of the program, which we think that this program is suitable in addressing the youth needs because the participant will get a hands-on experience where they get to discover and learn about how people from different social class live their life. This is because most of the materialistic youth only live in their bubble or circle where their peers usually come from the same social class as them. Other than that, in the program tentative, we also have a sharing session with the villagers during lunch break and tea time as one of our activity where the participants will eat meals that the villagers have cooked for them together with the villagers. As we know, rural areas rarely have access to fast food or fancy restaurants, so the villagers usually try to make the most out of the ingredients that they have, mostly fruits and vegetables. And for the sharing session, the villagers might tell about how they usually live their daily life. Therefore, this simple but meaningful mealtime may develop a sense of gratefulness among the participants and cause them to appreciate what they already have in their life. Last but not least, we will also hold a gift exchange session where the participants need to create the gifts, but only from the materials that we have provided. For example, maybe we will provide papers, colored pens, stickers, ribbons, glue, and many more to be given to the villagers. We do this activity because we want to stress on emotional intelligence improvement where they can appreciate small gesture or inexpensive gifts because sentimental things can be just as valuable as material wealth. The memories that a simple stuff holds, like maybe a keychain, can be just as precious as expensive or branded clothes. So I guess that is all from me. I will pass to the next presenter to continue this presentation.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I bid to everyone. So my name is Sani Syamim Binti Muhammad Arif. I will continue the presentation. So for the youth participation, we have divided it into 4 stages, which consists of preparation, initial planning, program implementation, and program evaluation. So basically for the preparation, it's for the youth or the high community to identify the program planning group, such as who will be the communities, participants, or from what NGO that will involve in this program. So other than that, is in this stage also we will review prior programs which are related to this issue, such as by searching for the research or studies that are related. So for the initial planning, we will conduct a needs assessment in order to know how to fulfill the participants' needs or how the program proposed can be related to the issue. And for the program implementation, we will manage the program flow and like by working as a team, and also what kind of skills needed in order to this program can be held. And for the last stage, the program evaluation, we will prepare a formative and summative evaluation from which consists of qualitative and quantitative method, which we also will discuss on the recommendation and future issues. So for the program activities, there are 4 main activities that we will conducted, which are ice breaking, which we will get to know how their daily life take place with limited facilities in the village. So by doing so, the feeling of grateful can be instilled in our our in us. So next is spring cleaning their housing area and also the Jeram Tengke as Nabila mentioned earlier. So for the next is know the nature and save the know the culture and save the nature. Basically, it's a sharing session. One of the main reason why Nabila and I always emphasize on nature and gratefulness is because the main reason why we focus on gratefulness is gratitude and learning mindfulness skills are possible to reduce materialist goals and mitigate negative effects of materialism. So that's why we wanted to instill the gratitude itself in our participants. So the last session will be exchanging gift session, which has mentioned by Nabila, where it actually can improve the emotional intelligence. So for
Okay,
the
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
all right. So for the expected outcomes, we wanted the participants to by the end of the program they can learn new skill, increase intrinsic values, and able to self-reflect. So why we focus more on the intrinsic value because there's experimental studies have found that participants who are immersed in nature and thus activate self-transcendence value, report higher intrinsic value expectation. And as a result, when one have a higher intrinsic values, people are guided to focus on internal self-transcending goals that are less materialist tendency by quoting the castle words, the inner goal is often to promote greater happiness and is an antidote to the values of materialism. As a conclusion, basically, our program is expected to achieve its main target, which is we wanted to make a program that will kill 2 birds with 1 stone because we not only will focusing on how to combat or lessen the materialistic behavior among the youth, but also we wanted the youth to appreciate more the nature. So I think that's all from my group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mimi and Nabila. Very, very well done. Nice job. I really like your slides. Very nice slides. Presentation was very nice. So yeah, good program. I like your literature review background, the key points. I think were very well presented. And your activities. I can clearly see the link between your the problem that you're trying to address and your activities. I thought they're well thought out. Well thought out. And you're the first group to include the youth participation element. So congratulations on that. Okay. So to the other groups that, the first 2 groups, please make sure in your written proposal, you mention about how you're going to involve the participants in the planning and the development of the program as well. Okay, so that's an important part of, remember, youth-centered programming. Yeah, we're talking about youth-centered programming. So nice job on that as well. Okay, so the only thing I would ask you is, what can be done specifically, and you don't have to necessarily include this in your program, but it's something to think about, since you mentioned that the main problem you found from your interviews was that these young people are really addicted to this icon culture, following their famous, their favorite icons and stuff. How do we wean them off of that, But again, you don't have to necessarily address that directly. I think your program, you're trying to address that more indirectly, so I can kind of see that. Okay, but that's, you know, that is a big issue, and it's something that even, as you mentioned, your interview participants mentioned as one of the reasons why they're materialistic. So just something to think about. But otherwise, very nicely done. Good job. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay. All right. So next we have Aini Shuhada and Muhammad Zarfan.
Morning, Prof.
Morning. Is it working?
I don't know. Alright, alright. Okay.
Dah okey dah.
There
Okay
it
dah.
is. Okay, looks good, looks good.
Can we start?
Yes, please. Silakan.
Okay, so hi. Good morning. Hi, my name is Aini Shada. So I will explain more about our topic, which is difficulty faced by youth in finding job during this pandemic. Our topic is more focusing on rate. So for introduction, this is the literature view about our topic. As we can see, in the article, this issue not only occurs during this pandemic, but this issue had been discussed for a long time. Some give opinion that youth, especially fresh graduates, lack experiences. That's the reason why most of the company do not want to hire them, since company always put prioritize on providing the best services for their clients. So during this pandemic, this issue become worse as most of the company face difficulties, especially in financial, and required them to not accept any new workers. So next, this is the interviews question that we use. But now we will focusing on first and third question. Next slide. Okay, for the first question, which are what are the challenges you face in the while finding job during this pandemic? Okay, as you can see, most of the interviewees said that the challenges they face is regarding MCO, that not allowed them to cross country, and most of the company are affected by the MCO. One of them also stated that company want to hire workers with experience, and when they are fresh graduate, they will not get hired. For the third question, if someone offer you job that not related to your field, will you take it? Can you explain why you choose that? Okay, all of the interviewees said they will accept any job, even though the job not related to their field, because it is difficult to find job, especially during this pandemic. Next. For the program that related to the issue, we think program that can be helpful is program regarding how to gain incomes using technology. First objective is help youth gain income and create job opportunity. As we can see nowadays, most of the local product use a system like hierarchy, which is stockists hire others under them, named as agent, and agent hire others under them called as drop to post out the items but only promote the items through social media. Second objective is gain new skills, where we decided this program also should consist one part, which is a talk by person that has experience in this industry, which is online business, such as influencer that use social media as business platform. Okay, lastly is help a fresh graduate that unemployed. Using all the methods that been taught in this program, it doesn't cost much and do not require any experience to do the business online. Obviously, they are very useful for those youth that face difficulties in finding job in this pandemic, where everyone need to stay at home. So for the expected outcomes, next slide. We expected that it can reduce unemployment among the youth and help youth create job opportunities to generate income. Okay, that's all from us.
Okay, thank you, Aini, Shahada, and Zarfan. So this is another very important topic. I'm glad you guys chose to do this topic. You made some good points. First, that youth unemployment is always a problem. It's not just during this pandemic. In fact, if you look at youth unemployment rates, not so much in Malaysia. Malaysia actually does quite well with youth unemployment. But even in Malaysia, youth unemployment is always higher than the general unemployment rate, okay? And in some countries, it can be up to 50% youth unemployment. And that's not even during the pandemic. That's in normal times, right? So youth unemployment is always an issue. And I'm glad you guys found that from your literature review, right? Because a lot of people don't realize that, right? And then your interview findings are actually quite interesting. You know, very revealing. That at least the young people that you interviewed said that they'd be willing to take any job, right? They're not going to be so picky about what job they choose, as long as they can work, okay? And so basically, it seems like you found that the main barrier is that so young people can't get jobs, so because they don't have the experience, right? And so we hear that all the time. You know, companies won't hire young people because they don't have experience. Well, how do they get experience if no one will hire them, right? It's kind of this chicken or the egg problem that always exists, you know. And so to address that issue, you chose to do something related to. It sounds like more of an entrepreneurship program.
Yes.
You're going to teach them to become their own employers, basically, and do their own business, right? So that's a great solution. I mean, you know, first that gives them experience as well. Not only experience in working, it gives them experience as job creators, which is of course very attractive for later if they want to go and work for organizations and companies. If they see that these young people have actually been successful creating their own businesses, that's going to be a major plus for them, a great asset for them when they go to try to find jobs later. And then of course, if they can make their businesses work on their own, then they don't even have to go and look for jobs later. They can be their own employers and they can have their own businesses. So I noticed in your objectives, though, you're going to try to help these participants gain new skills. What kind of skills will they gain from your program? It wasn't clear to me.
Like marketing, you know,
Yeah.
they promote items on social media, so they gain skills
Oh, okay.
about how to promote.
Okay. So
That's
marketing, selling, sales,
yes,
using
how
social
to
media.
treat customers.
That's a very good one. Yes, you need to emphasize that. Please emphasize that. Nowadays, customer relations and customer service, people have no clue. They have no clue of how important that is, right? And most businesses nowadays, they don't treat customers very well. And so customers, like if I'm a customer and I get treated poorly by a business, I don't want to work with that business anymore. I don't care what they're selling. If you treat me like that, I don't want to do business with you. It's common sense, but so many businesses, they don't realize that, how important that is, right? You know, they just think of that one sale. They don't think that we want to have this customer for the next 10 years, right? Rather than just for one sale, right? So they just worry about getting that one sale. They treat the customer like dirt, and then they don't care after that. And that customer doesn't come back and they wonder why, right? So yes, please train these young people on the importance of customer service. You know, you want a customer that's going to be your customer for a lifetime, not just for one sale. So you need to treat them well. In the US, they used to have a saying, the customer is always right. That used to be the saying among businesses. Yeah, so like whatever the customer wants, you give it to them. You know, if they complain, you help them meet their, address their complaints. Whatever it is, keep the customer happy. Then they'll keep coming back, and you'll have a customer for life, right? Because you treat them well. Okay, so these basic common sense things are very important in doing business. Okay, so thank you guys. All right, it's a good
Thank you,
program.
Prof.
Remember, just in relation to the last one, please, in your written report, think about how to involve the youth participants in the program, yeah? In planning the program, developing the program. Make sure you have that youth participation element in there, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay. All right, so you guys are all, I really like your topics. I like the issues you're addressing. Clearly you have a sense of what's going on out there and what the problems that young people are facing. Okay, so that's really nice to see. Okay, who's next? Let me check the schedule here. Shafika. Oh, Hanim and Irma. Oh no, sorry, Effie's first. Yeah, Effie and Amirul. Sorry, okay. Okay, so is this gonna work, you think?
Effie?
Amirul, are you going to?
Yeah.
Okay, Effie, you there?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I can turn on my camera. Sorry for that.
Oh, you can. Oh, you cannot. No, I know you cannot. You told me. Okay, so you just have to have.
I cannot.
Yeah, I know. You have to use teamwork with Amirul. Okay, one does the slides, one talks. Okay. Okay. Okay, Amirul, go ahead.
Welcome and good morning to all. Today, we will present about our program, Health Awareness among LGBT community. So, the presenter is me, myself, Muhammad Rashad Ishaq, and Nur Effie Mas Azira binti Zainuddin. For introduction, according to a report released by the AIDS Council Malaysia and the Malaysian AIDS Foundation show that HIV infection is the majority contributed by heterosexual as much as 40%. But homosexual and bisexual are second contributors to infection. HIV is 36%. Young people experience many challenges in adolescence. Anxiety, depression, and suicide are reported as cause of your morbidity and mortality across the world. Empirical studies suggest that youth who identify as LGBT can find themselves faced with greater challenge compared to the youth of heterosexual orientation. So second, the evidence of the issue we choose is we conduct 3 interviews with individuals from this community. We get 2 of them that tie intercourse sexual and unnatural sexual activity, and 1 of them is now facing with sexual transmission disease (STD). Then why we have awareness? Why we choose is first to educate them about health problems occur in LGBT community. Second, to improve the health, safety, and well-being of LGBT individuals. Third, reduction in disease transmission and progression. And for the fourth, reduce healthcare costs for LGBT individuals.
So
What-
for
what-
the
Thursday.
Okay, next up.
rationale of program, why we choose this program, because not all of the LGBT individual know the impact of health issue, especially for physical. We are focusing for the physical health related to LGBT community. Some of them do not expose to the program, and based on our interviews, all three interviewees are not joining the program related to health issue regarding the LGBT, lack of program for LGBT community, and the last one is percent of sexual transmission disease among LGBT community rose up. Next. Mirror next. For the participant target, our main target is LGBT community itself, because it's related to health among LGBT youth. But since as we are focusing on the health issues, so I think it's okay for the youth that practice sexual intercourse before marriage, and the youth that practice unnatural sex, which is sex luar tabi'i. The next. Activities during the program. We have 4 activities here. First is talk or sharing about the risk of intercourse and oral sex among LGBT community. The second one is let's share game, which is the participant will given a different types of candy, and then needs to share, then need to pass the candy, which is it is based on their desire whether they want to exchange the candy or not. Some of the candy indicates to the whether they have HIV, STD, or syphilis, or they are free from that kind of sexual transmission disease. So that if person A have free from that kind of disease, and person B have HIV, if they're having an intercourse sex, so they will exchange the candy to each other. It means that the individual A, which is free from the STD, now facing with the HIV risk. So the third is I want the activity, which is we know that LGBT is not something that naturally happen. It is based on their curiosity, because there are different reason why it leads them to involve in this LGBT community. So it is a written task, which is each of the participant will given a plain paper, so they need to express their feeling towards the letter, which is the letter doesn't need to give their name. So we know that because for us, we believe that LGBT community also have feelings when the our community mocking them. And the last one is pre-test for sexual transmission disease during the program. I mean, after the program. Next. So the expected outcome from the program, the individual that join the program will practice better hygiene. They will be more careful before having intercourse sex. Then maybe they need to use protection or avoid to having intercourse sex. Regularly visit to the clinic to do test for HIV, STD, or syphilis, especially for them that having that kind of disease. Uh, and then have determination to walk out from the LGBT community. So next, for the conclusion, we believe that LGBT is actually unnatural desire. So we as a community, we need to give them hand to help them to change, because they still have chance to change. And the last one is health awareness toward LGBT is sort of good program to avoid the contagious sexual disease. among LGBT community. So that's all from us.
Okay, sorry, I had to get off there for a second, but I caught most of your presentation. So, all right, congratulations, thank you guys. So you're dealing with a sensitive issue, clearly. Can you just go back to your outcomes there, Effie and Amirul? The outcomes that you posted there? So you're focusing on health of this particular community. And I see your last outcome there is okay, so your first three outcomes are very realistic. The last outcome, even though of course that is something that of course mainstream society would prefer to see, of course, is more desirable, but whether it's realistic for that to happen as a result of your one very short program, that may be a bit extensive, you know, as an outcome. You know, most likely after one program on health, they're not going to suddenly decide that they no longer want to be involved. So, but your outcome can be related to that in the sense that you can just make it maybe a bit more realistic, given the limited time of the program. You know, so maybe something like begin. I don't know. I'm not sure how you'd word it, but something like. Reconsider their identity as LGBT or something, or no, not identity. You're talking about the health practices, the actual practices of sexual intercourse and stuff. So maybe just to have them think about, or at least reflect on, whether they want to continue being involved in these practices, right? The issue of LGBT, of course, is very controversial in some sense, only because there is a lot of disagreement on, again, why people are LGBT, right? And if you look at a lot of what they say in the West, people are born that way and all that. Well, there's actually a lot of psychological research that's been done that looks at things like, early relationships, sexual abuse, lack of attachment to parents. There's a lot of actual work, but it doesn't get a lot of attention in the media, because the media is, in the West especially, is very much pro-LGBT, and it's very political. So they've politicized the issue in a lot of ways. So we don't really get a lot of the good research that's been done to show, what are some of the reasons why people become LGBT. Although we've done even PhD studies in UPM on the community here, exploring reasons why LGBT become LGBT. But in terms of your program, I think you need to just make it a bit, that last outcome, just make it a bit more realistic, So of course, we don't really expect that they're going to completely give up, their activities, but at least maybe moving in that direction, they will begin to reconsider getting involved in these activities. That'd be a more realistic outcome. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.
All right. So next we have Hanim and Irma. Shirami. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Wait a minute, Prof.
Okay.
So, Assalamualaikum and hi. So for the program proposal presentation, so we are proposing the sex education awareness in preventing sexual matters among youth. So this presentation will be done by me, myself, Shafika Hanif, and my partner, Irma Shuriani binti Shafil Sidi. So the issue is premarital sex intercourse and associated factors among youth. So for the introduction to the problem or issue, premarital sex means sexual intercourse before marriage, whether marriage with that sexual partner or anyone else. So Lodz Italia 2019 conducted a research regarding risky sexual behaviors among youth in Malaysia, showed that almost 2,000 out of 27,000 youth in Malaysia are involved in premarital sex, and 87.3% did not use condom or protection, and 16.6% had multiple sexual partners, and 31.7% had sex before the age of 14. So sexual transmitted infection STI and unplanned pregnancies remain in the list of public health problems worldwide and on the rise. World Health Organization WHO reported that active sexual activity among youth make them more vulnerable towards STIs and unplanned pregnancies. So for the risk factors, it is identified by the local studies that family management, peer pressure, and addiction to pornography are the factors for these sexual activities to happen. And therefore, we aim to determine the latest prevalence of premarital sex among youth in Malaysia and to determine the risk factors associated with their behaviors. So evidence of the issue result from the interview regarding social life. Both of the interviewee practice social lifestyles like partying, strolling around, illegal car race, premarital sex since the age of 17 and 18 respectively. As for the pornography and how it affects their engagement in premarital sex, Youth A denied that pornography led to his sexual intercourse with his partner. With his partner. Youth B admitted that addiction to pornography led him to engage in premarital sex. According to him, pornography has various genres, and he always keep up with the current porn trends, which led him to be bisexual. As for other factors, Youth A stated that he was hesitant at first. However, his friends challenged him to prove his manliness, and that is when he started to engage in premarital sex. This means that peer pressure is indeed one of the associated factors. When purpose about family management, both of them agreed that the poor family management in their households led them to find their soul from the outside world and what happens to be engaging and that happens to be engaging with premarital sex. Busy working parents and minimal religion practices in the family lead them to their current sex life. And for the feeling after the sexual intercourse, both of them agreed that it makes them happy and feel more adult. According to Youth B, he usually feels very happy if he gets rewards or money after the sex. As for the risk awareness, both of them are aware of the risk. However, Youth A is most likely to practice safe sex as he has been doing the intercourse with his girlfriend only. And he has been taking sexual transmitted disease STDs test every 6 months. And meanwhile, Youth B never took any test, but he will only ask his partners beforehand either they have STIs or not. As for the preference of safe sex or raw sex, Youth A preferred raw sex, and that is why he undergoes the STDs test twice a year, while Youth B let his partners decided. For safe sex or raw sex are not a problem for him. And attraction after marriage, are they going to change or not? Both of them agreed that nothing would change even after they get married. So according to them, marriage is about love and choosing someone to go through everything for a lifetime. And they stated firmly that marriage is never about sex. And the thought of stopping premarital sex, both of them are currently enjoying their current sex life and they have no intention of stopping. So the objectives of the program is to equip people with knowledge, attitudes, and values that will help them to secure their dignity, health, and well-being. So when we are talking about dignity, it is for their own self and family image or reputation, of course. And in terms of health, of course, we wanted to um, provide them with prevent them from having STIs, sexual transmitted infections, and also for the well-being, it's focusedly on the women or the girls because of the unplanned pregnancies, and also to develop respectful social engagement with no excessive touching, and to educate youth about the associated factors that lead to engagement in premarital sex. Of course, they have to know the associated factors and how to control and handle them. And also to help youth acquire the knowledge of sex means that they know the body structures and also zone of sex and why sex should and should not be done before marriage. As for the rationale of the program, it provides an understanding that positive, caring environment are essential for the development of a good self-image and that individuals are in charge and responsible of their own bodies, and provide knowledge about the processes of reproduction and the nature of sexuality and relationships. And the last one is to encourage attitudes and values which allow youth to manage their relationships in a responsible and healthy manner. Next will be my partner.
Next, I will explain about youth participation or planning, role of youth, how youth will be involved. In this program, the youth between 15 until 30 years old will be participated in this program. The program involve all of all youth in order to give early awareness, especially for the youth that practice premarital sex, casual sex, and unnatural sex in their life. And the youth will be involved or play role as participants in this program to ensure the objectives of the program can be delivered among youths. Next. For the program activities, firstly, we will have a session about sex education, the importance of sex education, and the risk of premarital sex, casual sex, and unnatural sex without the adequate knowledge of sex education among youth. Secondly, self-awareness tests to check or test the participants' knowledge or awareness regarding sex education in their life and risk of unsafe sex practice. Next, we will have broken telephone games. This game session to ensure that they can learn in informal way and avoid boredom. This game will include information about sex education. The lesson from this game, the youth can learn that information using word of mouth is not always accurate, especially if the information they don't receive directly from the right source. That's the reason why sex education program in community or school or university is important. And last, we will have a Q&A session. This session to give participants a chance if they don't understand or need further clarification from the speaker. The speaker also can ask questions to the participant to check their understanding about the program. Next. For the expected outcome, uh, the youth that join the program will become more aware of the risk of practicing premarital sex, casual sex, especially without protection, and unnatural sex. Secondly, the youth become more aware to the importance of taking HIV or AIDS and STD tests, especially to those that practice unsafe sex. Thirdly, they will be able to make a good decision about their sexual sex. Next, increasing youth's knowledge and improving their attitudes related to sexual and reproductive health and behaviors. Lastly, increasing delaying sexual initiation, reducing the frequency of sex, or reducing the number of sexual partners in their sex activities. Next. In conclusion, sex education is very important among youth as it will increase the youth's information and understanding of sexual and reproductive health. Sex education program is essential as nowadays many youths getting involved in premarital sex, casual sex, and unnatural sex without getting proper education of the risk on this matter. Um, thirdly, sex education program could help youth to get knowledge, motivation, and courage to make the right decisions regarding sex and sexuality. Last but not least, the youth that being exposed to their sex education might decrease the chance of getting HIV or AIDS, STDs, early and unintended pregnancies, as this matter will pose serious risk to their well-being and health. That's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, guys, very nicely done. Very well planned out program. Yeah, and this is another issue that's, of course, very important to young people today. And I think it's okay, if you guys, I think it's important actually that you include in your somewhere in the program activities or even the objectives. Don't forget spiritual well-being as well. Spiritual well-being and even legality. Talk about the law as well. Some of the things that they do are illegal, and then of course there's you know making them aware of the spiritual and religious implications of what they're doing. Because I saw from your interviews, they even mentioned that they grew up in houses where, religion was not really emphasized and stuff like that. So it's important actually to include that aspect as well. Especially if these are Muslim youth as well. Okay, so but it's very well planned out and very well thought out program. Okay, so congratulations.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah. Can we? Do you mind if we take a 5-minute break, everyone?
Sure.
Okay, and then next will be Nadira and Rafika. Okay, let's just take a 5-minute break. Yeah, thanks. Okay, sorry about that. First day of school and it's a little bit hectic. I got a house full of kids in school today, starting school today. Okay, so who is next on our list? Let's see here. Nadira and Rafika, are you ready?
Yes. Can you hear me, Prof?
Yes, Ken. Go ahead.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum and hi. Me and my partner Abika are going to present a youth program proposal. So our topic for today is family conflict among youth.
Okay, good topic.
So as for the introduction, conflict is considered as a common thing that happens once or twice in our lifetime, and it is we can avoid it in our life. So family conflict is the word conflict that many try to avoid as much as possible because it could affect a lot of parties, especially teenagers. So family is considered as an important element in youth development as they play a great role in supporting and contributing in their life. So, a study has shown that when youth are given the question for them in which they need to choose the most needed thing in their life, family relationship was chosen by 87.3% respondent. So, from this, it can be seen is actually very important for them in their life. So, family conflicts occur because of different opinions and perception from different parties, and both do not want to admit their fault or accept others' opinions. So it mostly happen between parents themselves or parents and their child. So as for the evidence of the issue, me and my partner had interviewed two teenagers. So we also done a research on journals and news. So we figured out that most family conflict involving the way they interact with their parents. So parents did not give much attention to what youth are supposed to receive. Thus, this is what lead them to get involved in some kind of rebellious act to gain their parents' attention. So they also mentioned that sometime at school, the other students who aware about their situation did not dare to be friend with them as they thought that them would have the same personality as their parent. So sometimes when time got rough, they need to handle the things alone. They would spend time at the most where most of the elderly would be and talk to the elders there. So it is shown here that they actually craft for someone to actually listen for their problems, for them to share what they face at home.
Right.
So as for the proposed program, my partner will explain more about it.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum and hi. So I will continue with the proposed program. For the program objective, first one is to help youth manage their family conflict to improve family relationship. Next, to help youth develop positive relationship in community. And the last one is to boost self-esteem and confidence in youth. So for the rationale of the program, first one is improve mental health in handling conflict. We are focused on the mental health of you are faced with this kind of conflict. This so the mental health is in a stable condition and cope with the situation better. We are hoping that this youth will not be overly stressed with the situation they are in and able to manage it in the rightest way possible. Youth may not feel depressed if they are exposed to a better environment and know how to manage things well. So next is bonding relationship with the community. It is to help them notice and be aware that there are people out there who are actually care about them and want to help them feel appreciated by others around them. Through this, they can feel understanding to change their current situation with the help and strength from the community. This can also develop their social skill to socialize with others and making new friends and get to know to each other. Next. So for the youth participation or planning, for the participation, we are discussing to open the program to whoever among youth that would like to participate. Even though the program focus on youth with family conflicts, but we thought that it's better for them to mingle with other youth from different categories in order to improve their range of social cycle and knowledge. The community involved will advertise the program and provide gifts for the participation to attract youth to participate in the program. Next is planning. We discussed with the community involved. They had suggested we hire a few youth to handle the program, as they believe even when the community will can an expert to mainly handle the youth, they will be much comfortable with youth from the same group as them. So before the event, the community will announce the program to volunteers who like to join them as organizer. Next. So for the activity, the first one is sharing session. There will be one-to-one session. Youth can share their problem or any difficulties that they face at this session. The second one is community service or volunteering, which is youth will help elders neighbors clean their home and organize their belongings. Next is game. There are 4 games, which is board game, that puzzle, and ping pong. So youth and community can choose whatever game they want to play, so they can support each other to win that game. The last one is cooking competition. Each group will be one youth and one from community. They need to cook the menu that have been given. So through this, youth will develop communication skill and social skill with the community. For the last part in the proposed program is expected outcome. First one, youth manage to boost their engagement with family, and youth will strengthen the relationship with community. Next, youth are able to increase their behavior in a positive way. And the last one, if you are emotionally stable to confront any situation related to family issue. Next. So as for conclusion, as we know, relationship theory state that youth need the attention, love, care, and others to be themselves. So they will be much better person when they know that they are being loved by someone, such as family, and even the community. So that's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. So yeah, another very good issue that affects a lot of young people. I like your I like the way you've identified the problem. I think it's interesting that you've linked that issue to community, actually, because and I guess it came from your interviews. Is that right?
Yes, because this situation actually happened in my village. So from the observing every annual year that the most would help to engage the youth to participate. It's actually came from those topic, like from those family conflict, to engage the youth to be more open with others, to be more self-confident and manage their family well.
I see. Okay. All right. Can you just explain to me a little bit how your first objective about mental health, maybe you could just pull your screen up, show your slides again. Your first objective on mental health, how that relates to the activities you plan to do. I didn't quite catch that.
The rationale?
Yeah, so the objective, oh, sorry, that's rationale. So to objective to help the youth manage their family conflict. So how do you relate that first objective of managing family conflict? Because that's a pretty big objective for a small program. So maybe you want to make it a bit.
Because actually from our interview, there's the two interviewee that we asked stated that they even thought of suicide. So that's why the rationale is actually what connected to our activity, which were for the sharing session. From those, maybe they can, because when they went to school, the students there did not want to be friends with them or didn't even care about the system in the school. So so the only things they have is when the sensation, so they can expose themselves, sharing with others. So there they can actually like release stress, so they would not like pile up all of it in by themselves.
I see. Okay. All right. Yeah, so I would just look at your program objectives again, and you may want to just, they're a little bit ambitious for a small program. Like, so for example, the program itself, when you say to help manage their conflict, maybe you want to be more specific. Specifically, how does the program aim to do that? I mean, that seems to be that's like your big objective, is right? You want to address family conflict, but the program itself, you're going to focus on some more specific things. So maybe you want to just relook at your objectives to make sure that they're really in line with what the program itself is trying to achieve. Okay. So for example, like,
thank you.
Specifically, how do you plan to address managing family conflict in the program? And then like developing positive relationships, specifically, how are you going to do it in the program itself? Okay, because these are program objectives. These are not the big outcomes. Your program objectives there, they look more like the sort of big outcomes you want to achieve, eventually, but the program itself is not going to be able to do all those big things, right? It's going to focus on more specific things. Okay, so make sure your program objectives are specific, because if not, then you do the program and you say, oh, wait a minute, we didn't really build up self-esteem in our program. Maybe we did increase self-esteem a little bit, from the program, and that's expected. It's just a one-day program or a very short program. You're not going to have a major shift in self-esteem, but it might increase their self-esteem somewhat. So, to increase youth self-esteem and confidence, to help youth make connections or help them to improve their community relationships or something like that. Try to be a bit more specific in terms of what the program itself is trying to do. Okay, so that's my only advice to you guys.
Okay, Prof. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, because remember, every objective that you put in your program, you're gonna. I mean, if you were doing a real program, you would have to measure that objective to see whether you've achieved it, right? So think about that, like whether we can really achieve this. If we were to measure it, evaluate it and measure it, would we really achieve this at the end of our program? Okay, so think along those lines. Okay, so you guys are so good in terms of managing the time that we are ahead of schedule. So what I'd like to ask you, there's only 3 left scheduled for today, for this week actually. So my proposal is that we stop today now, and we let the last 3 on the list for this week, we let them present tomorrow. Is that okay? Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all right. Okay, so we'll stop there today, and we'll let Sohaila and Akila, Florence and Karishma and oh shit. Oh, we have 2 in the class. Okay, and Shahima and Siti Nar Farah will present tomorrow. Okay, you 3 groups. All right, is that okay? Yes. Okay. All right. I haven't heard any no's, so I guess it's okay. So, so let me just start by, I will congratulate everyone that went today. Most of you did a very nice job. And so let's try to continue tomorrow. And just remember, For the rest of the groups that are going to go, so, if you just want to relook at what you're going to do, focus on program objectives that are measurable, right? Or measurable program objectives, not too ambitious given the scope of the program, being a small program. Okay, make sure your activities align with your objectives. Okay, most of you have done this for the, quite well. I'm just re-emphasizing this. And then lastly, again, think about how to involve the youth participants in the planning and conducting of the program. Okay, so just focus on those things. All right, and so I guess we will continue tomorrow, 12 o'clock, inshallah.
Okay, Prof.
Okay.
Prof.
All right. See you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank
Okay.
you, Prof.
Assalamualaikum.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Prof.